We may have just been treated to the best chapter of One Piece of this entire year, and I don't think it's even close. TCB Scans came out with these translations and these scans literally just hours ago and early on a Thursday, which is crazy, but I have no complaints. After last chapter, we were left on the edge of our seat wondering what the hell is going to happen now that Luffy seemingly was completely defeated by Kaido, but in chapter 1043, we get that answer plus infinitely more. But without further ado, let's have a chapter discussion of One Piece chapter 1043. The chapter picks up from where it left off last time, which is exactly what we wanted as an audience. I really dislike when authors and mangakas sometimes, after a huge reveal or a huge defeat within a story, they go back to different of the other storylines going on simultaneously. But Oda, he does exactly what we want, and he shows us Kaido. As we know, Kaido was furious with the CP0 agent who distracted Luffy the same way that Odin was distracted when Kaido beat him last. Kaido has yet to defeat these two foes, Odin and Luffy, the way he wanted to. He won through kind of a Mickey Mouse way. Nonetheless, we know Kaido is the strongest creature alive, and I think this confirms that Kaido is the strongest. We've had everybody jump him simultaneously, yet no one has been able to defeat him. Well, at least no one yet. With Luffy on the ground, we see literal air come out of Luffy's mouth, kind of implying that his life has run out, that he's given his last breath of life. Even Momonosuke says Luffy's voice is gone, and upon seeing this, Kaido is again furious, and we finally get the panels that indicate who is the victor. And in this case, Kaido is the victor. It says Victor, Kaido, King of Beast. This is paramount because so far in this story, these victor panels have not lied. And Kaido tells the CP0 agent, he's like, do you have any idea what you've done? You've cost me yet again another Mickey Mouse moment. And as a result, he seems to kill the CP0 agent, and the CP0 agent, he seems content in his death because he's accomplished his goal. And based on the attack we see, I don't think he's coming back, and I think he's actually dead. What happens next is all of Onigashima is burning down, rubble is falling everywhere, all hope seems lost, and Kaido even appears, and he's like, y'all, bring me your leader, bring me Momonosuke. Right now, Luffy is dead, and we need Momonosuke to declare his surrender, and if any of y'all still wish to fight, to step forward so I can body you, essentially. And we see Kid and Law hear the news of Luffy's defeat, and we see all of the Straw Hats' reactions, including one of our honorary Straw Hats, Tama, and we see that everybody thinks that Kaido's lying, that there's no way that Luffy would die. But in my opinion, most importantly, we see Nami. Nami has always supported Luffy. Nami has always supported Luffy in his dream to become Pirate King, and she doesn't believe he lost, that he's not dead, that it's impossible. And Kaido is fed up with being called a liar and people still having faith, people still believing, and as a result, he uses another blast breath, but our boy Marco comes in clutch as he always does, and he tells everyone not to give up, that it's not over until it completely is. Kaido in these next moments in the chapter has such a crazy villain speech where he says this entire country to him is just a weapons factory, that if they're women, if they're children, they're all slaves, and he'll work them until they're dead, and that they're all replaceable, that he'll make them miserable the rest of their lives, and that Orochi in comparison will look like a much more just ruler. Kaido is now increasing his stance as an antagonist, as an ultimate villain. Right now he is saying he's going to enslave all of them, and this is really important to what we see later on towards the end of this chapter. And as I was reading this, with Kaido yelling out to bring Momonosuke that this won't end until he surrenders because he's the leader of the troops, as we know, I kind of thought, I said, please, I guess if Momonosuke needs to surrender and he needs to be brought forth to save everyone, would Kaido even spare him, or would Kaido just kill Momonosuke and establish his regime right away? What's pretty notable is that some of Kaido's troops come to try to finish off Kid and Law, and Kid stands up. He's like, listen, Law, I'm gonna fight no matter what, and we have to give Kid props. Law seems like he's ready to call it quits, call it GG, to say that they've lost, and no. But Kid is like, I'm on death's door, I don't care, I'm still gonna fight. We're then taken to a really important dialogue between Momonosuke and Yamato, and as we know, we love Yamato, but they're arguing what should be the solution. What can Momonosuke do? Momonosuke's like, listen, I can't beat Kaido if Luffy lost, but Yamato keeps instilling in Momonosuke the values of the samurai, the values she's understood from Odin's journals. You can fight until your last breath. That is the way of the samurai. if it's not them, who else is going to fight? Everyone's at their limits and they have to fight. And it comes down to this moral conundrum. Do they surrender and instead be enslaved, or do they fight until their death? But Yamato is adamant, saying, what will we do? Will we live our lives as slaves until the day we finally die from exhaustion? In the end, we would rather fight to our death than ever be enslaved. That everything Wano endured for these 20 years, all of that suffering would mean nothing if they just went back to enslavement. And then we get to the end of this chapter, and I think that's what makes it the best chapter of One Piece this year, and the craziest shit we've seen thus far, if we're being honest. We see Luffy essentially dead on the ground, and Zunisha calls out, and immediately I was like, okay, hold on, what's going on? And he says, Momonosuke, I can hear it. It really takes me back. I can hear the drums of liberation. For the first time in 800 years, he is here without a doubt. It's a Joy Boy, and we see Luffy smiling, and it says he's returned. And Luffy's hair, it seems to have different properties, as if Luffy has awakened his devil fruit, or rather Joy Boy has. So I guess as of now, we can't shit on what happened with Naruto and the Sage of Six Paths, but in all seriousness, right now, we don't know if Joy Boy is possessing Luffy, or Luffy is merely carrying the inherited will of Joy Boy. But given the smile, Luffy seems to be awake. Whether Luffy or Joy Boy, God only knows. Maybe they're interchangeable at this point, but his awakening seems to have happened from everything we can see from this final panel. And although it's all speculation, my God, if his awakening is here, it is GG for Kaido. Luffy within the last chapter, within 1042, said this is my final Gear 4th. So I guess he wasn't lying. It was his final Gear 4th because he's about to whoop Kaido's ass. Clearly with an awakening, and now with Joy Boy. So Twitter has been going absolutely crazy, and I've read so many theories already. I read one that the world government took Joy Boy and turned him into a devil fruit and then hid him away for all these years. Joy Boy returning is actually really thematic given all of the skyboats that have been going around right now. Shinobu said that the day of the Fire Festival is when people's wishes and feelings reach the dead more than ever. As we know, clearly all the wishes of Wano, Joy Boy hears him. Joy Boy is here, and this is a testament to Kaido. Kaido has taken on everybody in the series damn near, and it takes Joy Boy from 800 years ago to be the one to defeat him. What's really interesting is within the translation for Joy Boy, it says it's pronounced Nika in Japanese, so Sun God Nika and Joy Boy are the same thing and they're interchangeable, which is something I personally was under the assumption of. As we know, Kaido has sought to be Joy Boy. He failed to be Joy Boy. And I read this really great theory that the reason that Shanks was able to stop Kaido is that Shanks told Kaido that he would see Joy Boy soon. And if that is the case, Shanks could have perhaps known that the Gomu Gomu no Mi could have been in possession of Joy Boy or very well related to him. As we know, the Gomu Gomu no Mi was likely the devil fruit in question that had all the information hidden about it by the world government. And this seems to be the case, and God knows how much Shanks knows about this world, but he seems to know far more than we think. Kaido seems to be the gatekeeper for Joy Boy to enter the world, and Joy Boy's whole thematic element of being for freedom, for being for liberation, it's juxtaposed so perfectly with Kaido this chapter, talking of slavery, talking of imprisoning the people of Wano and working them until their death. We now have the moral battle of slavery and evil of Kaido versus liberation and freedom of Joy Boy. And it seems the fight on Onigashima might be ending pretty soon, but I think this calls for Kaido's flashback to come pretty imminently. Whether Luffy is Joy Boy through inherited will, or he is actually possessed by Joy Boy, regardless of it, I think it is some god tier work by Oda, and given this awakening, I have so many questions of what the hell is going on with Luffy. Oda has blessed us this week, and Luffy has been resurrected like Jesus himself, and now he's ready to scrap. Guys, if you enjoyed this chapter and this discussion, please let me know in the comment section below, and don't forget to drop a subscription if you haven't already. I love covering One Piece, and if my audio is a little bit quiet today, it is because it's super late at night, but this chapter was so exciting and I had to make a video on it immediately. So guys, I hope you are all having a beautiful start to your day or a good rest of your night, and as always, be greedier.